Hey folks, this is Vince with Ads Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly, well, maybe not quickly, check out Pacific Drive. This is a game that you can find on Steam for about 30 bucks or so. I myself got it in the recent Humble Bundle for about $10. And the first thing I want to note right out of the gate, this game has a lot of gameplay and accessibility options, which is wonderful. You can set the type of damage that can be done to your player or the car, like you can adjust fuel consumption. There's so many different things that you can adjust. Loss and penalties. That's the most important one because runs in this game can be fairly long and you can't there's no save during a run. So you kind of can make up for it by adjusting what you lose should you have to leave early, that kind of thing. So just note that there are a lot of accessibility and gameplay options, and you can adjust that on the fly in-game as well. So while you're playing, if you think that you're receiving too much electricity damage from this anomaly over here, you can tone that down. Or, oh, my gas is being consumed way too quickly, I'm going to go ahead and, tone that down a bit. So there's two parts to this game. And the magic, I think, really happens in the garage. You unlock more and more of the garage as you go. There's a crafting table, and you'll be crafting various things in order to see to your own health, because, you do take damage as you're out in the world doing things, and your car also takes damage. And what's cool is that throughout this entire game, you'll be able to upgrade your car. And it's only the one car that you get, and there's a reason, there's a story behind that. I'm not going to try and spoil that part of it. But essentially, it's the station wagon, I guess. But you can unlock new types of parts and then equip your car with said parts. So you'll start off with like crude panels in the beginning. It looks very run down, very ragged. But then you unlock like regular steel panels, and then you can attach those and take the old crude ones off. Your tires start off as, I think, spare tires or summer tires or something like that, but then you can get off-road tires and then all-terrain tires. So you'll be crafting these car parts and making your car better and better. You can also attach various decals and stickers, and you can even add bobbleheads and things that you can dangle from your rear view mirror, that kind of thing. And some of that is locked behind DLC, just so you know. The Humble Bundle that I got, the package includes everything for $10. You're not going to find a better deal. So if you're going to get this game, get it during the Humble Bundle, because you'll get all the DLCs, all of it for $10. There is a research station, and you're going to be using something called stable energy. You're going to be getting that out on your runs, and then when you come back, you can spend that along with other resources like plastic or metal, whatever, in order to unlock blueprints. And this is where, like I said, you can unlock car parts, but you'll also be able to add new workstations to your garage as well. There's a workstation, for example, that lets you adjust your clothing, like on your person. There's a workstation that lets you recharge it automatically like repairs car parts. So if you have a car part that's damaged, you could drop it off, and this machine, the matter regenerator, I think it's called, will slowly heal that particular part over time. There's a disassembler where you can throw an unwanted part in there, and it'll spit out various resources. Now, before you can actually leave your garage, you have to go to the map. You interact with the computer, then it cuts to the map, and then you choose your destination. And the place the destination that you choose is the final place that you can go. It's not open world, so to speak. Like, once you reach your destination, I haven't been able to go anywhere else. I had to either leave or die at that point once I got there and did my thing. And I'll explain more about that later. But essentially on that map screen, you're going to pick a location and kind of plot your route. And you do have to go A to B to C to D. So if you pick something further out, you have to drive through all the zones to get there. And that's why I said earlier that these trips can be lengthy. And I would highly recommend, if you're a busy person like me, go into the options menu, that gameplay accessibility stuff, and tone down the penalty for if you have to quit early, or the penalty for leaving early, that kind of thing. tone that down so that if life calls, which it typically does for the busy adult, at least you'll have you won't lose all your items in that run. You won't waste an hour's worth of work. You won't feel like you've lost your time and that the game doesn't respect your time. So I highly recommend that you take a look at those options first and adjust those, because I'm telling you, this game can it leads you into a false sense of security that you're doing well, and then bam. And then bam, unfortunately. But I getting back to the whole garage thing, I enjoy spending my time here. Like when it's raining outside and the rain is hitting the garage, I go as far as to shut all the doors, even though I don't need to, just because the ambiance, I feel like there's something out there going to get me, because everything else wants to kill me. And supposedly this garage is a safe spot, but like I don't trust it. So I still close all the doors. I'm sure I'm like being paranoid, but it's just the ambiance makes me feel that way. And I don't know, that's a lot of fun. Part of me hopes that something's going to happen and that my security measures are actually worth it. Now, your car will also pick up quirks as you're playing too. Like you go out on a run, you come back, and then your car starts doing weird things. Like the fuel gauge will start spinning, and then it'll stop spinning when your headlights are on. That's called a quirk. And there's another quirk that I was discovering. Like, I'm like, why is my door opening automatically? Here, whenever I honk my horn, the right side passenger door automatically opens. And again, these are quirks that you're going to be picking up along the way. And there is a computer station in your garage that you'll have to interact with in order to fix it. Now, this part admittedly can be a little frustrating. Like, sometimes I knew what the problem was, but trying to get the computer to recognize, like, to find the exact wording that it was looking for, like the exact conditions, because there's 4 columns, and you have to get all 4 words right in all of those columns in order to diagnose the problem, and then it'll tell you how to fix it. Like a mechanics kit, for example, just simply apply a mechanics kit to the computer and it'll fix it. So that can be frustrating. Now, there is an element of resource gathering in this game. In the open world and around your garage, you'll be able to use various tools like crowbars, and there's like a saw that you can use. You can pretty much just get resources from various places, buildings, and you'll be using those resources in order to craft, like I said, the tools, the first aid kit, the car parts, all of that stuff. Now, there is a durability on these tools, so you will have to like make sure that you're packing for, let's say that you plan on doing a lot of resource gathering. You may want to bring enough resources with you to craft 2 or 3 of these saws, or just make sure that you're stopping along the way to pick up these resources as you find them. You've even got this friendly dumpster that will just spit resources at you whenever you ask it to. And I've even seen it like appear during a run as an anomaly, and it just gave me free stuff. That's really cool. I like stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, there's an element of resource management. You can customize your car. This is the part of the game that like I love chilling to. And I even painted or decaled my car like this frost blue color, because it's easy to see on a run in the dark, because there is a day and night cycle. All right, now let's talk a little bit about the runs themselves. What are you doing during these runs? Well, there is a main quest line, and typically if you want to follow the quest line, you pick the zone that has the quest marker as your destination, and you get there and you do your thing. However, you can deviate from that by not picking the destination and just picking anywhere on the map that the game lets you. Not all zones have an exit point, as it's called, because on your run, you're going to be driving around, collecting resources, and avoiding something called anomalies that you'll be able to scan and learn about. They hurt you, most do anyway. And you're essentially going to be resource gathering. Now, these exit points are your way out. You have to collect enough stable energy in a zone, and then an exit point will appear, and then you have to get to it before you're killed. It's crazy. I would have to describe this part of the game, the driving part, to be probably the most stressful. Because as I said, the game will lull you into a false sense of security. You'll be listening to the radio, you'll be just cruising along the road, looking for points of interest, looking for loot, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, crap hits the fan, an anomaly comes out of nowhere, and then drags your car into a ditch somewhere, like all in a span of 10 seconds. And that that happened to me, and I even got separated from my car. I was out getting loot, and an anomaly threw me up into the air, and another anomaly came by, took my car, and I was like almost dead. I'm just saying, like, all of this happened within like 15, 20 seconds. And that's why I said, like, this part of the game is the most stressful for me because anything can happen. There's a lot of anomalies. And I will say the visual effects are amazing. Like, when there's a gigantic storm coming through, like, it feels like it. And I don't want to leave the safety of my car. In fact, you shouldn't. Your car is kind of like your shield, protecting you from all of these anomalies and all of these crazy things going on. Radiation. You do have a state-of-the-art GPS, and I use that term loosely. You can set waypoints on that GPS, and you'll be able to go to those destinations. But like I said, ideally, it's all about avoiding anomalies, trying not to be killed. The anomalies themselves, I don't want to spoil too much, but you'll recognize some common themes. For example, the mannequin that moves whenever you don't look at it. I don't know how many horror games do that nowadays, but that is a thing in this game as well. But they blow up. they will blow up when they touch you or your car, so that's bad. There's also other hidden things to find, like there are these cassette tapes, like recordings that you can get. It's just part of the lore, I think. I don't know if there's a completionist part of that. I really don't care. My main concern typically is staying alive long enough to see to see that all my stuff gets back. But again, I did tone that down in the gameplay settings. But I will say that when you're driving along and you see a row of mannequins, or you see a set of these spikes, like these metallic spikes coming out of the ground, and then they shoot electricity through each other. Like, you're just driving along and you see that, and you're like, oh crap, now how do I get around that? And again, in the beginning of the game, your car is not ideally built for that, like off-roading. Eventually it will be. Now, as I indicated earlier, when you get to your destination, you're going to be collecting enough of these stable essences, and when you do, exit points will appear on your GPS. You have to be far enough away from them in order to activate one of them. And once you do, that's when the timer starts. You have to get to the exit point before you're killed. I don't play Fortnite. I don't know what it's called, but at the end of the match, there's typically some kind of bubble that will come from the outside and start enclosing itself on everyone, and it's just the circle closes in, and you're kind of like forced into the center. Well, that's what's going on here. You've got this gigantic storm that's kind of closing in on you. At first, you'll get into the yellow zone if you wait too long, then the red zone, and then crap hits the fan after that. Your goal is to just drive into the exit point, and that'll take you right back to the garage. That is a typical run. You go back to the garage, you rinse and repeat everything I mentioned at the beginning of this video. You upgrade your car, you take the resources you've got to better it, you deal with quirks as you get them, you upgrade your garage, and then when you're ready to go back out again, that's when you collect resources, you avoid anomalies, and then you get to your exit point and get home. But just be warned that whole process, like the garage isn't so bad because you can save anytime, but when you're out on a run, you can't save mid run. So only go on a run when you know you've got at least a half an hour ahead of you. And if you don't, and you still want to go on a run anyway, make sure you've toned it down in the options menu, the penalty for leaving early, that kind of thing. So do I recommend Pacific Drive? The answer is yes. I have 10 hours under my belt right now. And again, the part of me that kind of just wants to chill in the garage is very happy. And the part of me that loves the open world resource gathering exploration side of it is sometimes, I don't want to say scared to death because it's only a video game, but it's still like it's tense. It really is, especially when these large radioactive storms just start appearing and wind starts blowing my car into trees. Like that's just like that's part of this game. It's pretty fun. I'll just say that. And if you're subscribed to my channel, definitely pick this game up during the Humble Bundle $10. The DLC is mostly cosmetic. I believe it's all cosmetic actually. So even if you haven't been able to get to this during the Humble Bundle, still get it on a sale. Is it $30? Worth $30? Maybe. But I still think it's worth the $10 that I paid for it. So go check this game out, Pacific Drive. It's a lot of fun. It has its quirks, and the controls feel a little floaty sometimes. But aside from that, like it's pretty solid. It's a lot of fun. Well, this is Vince. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Take care.